Today's sermon addresses the following of the UU7 principles. Principle 1, we affirm and promote the inherent worth and dignity of every person. Principle 4, we affirm and promote a free and responsible search for truth and meaning. Today's talk is titled Hello and Goodbye, the First and Last Time for Everything, and will be presented by Randy Schwalbe. Randy, for those who are new to our service, is the chair of the UUCC Worship Committee, as well as the creator of the slideshows for these services. In his past life, he has served as music director for various other churches, including 7 years with the UU Church of Studio City, Our Savior's Lutheran Church in Long Beach, Seaside United Church of Christ in Torrance, and the Community Presbyterian Church here in Cambria. These days, Randy is honing his craftsman skills for home projects, hiking when it is safe to do so again, and playing tennis with Andy and Jack. On the count of 3, let's all give a big hello for Randy Schwalbe. 1, 2, 3.
Hi.
With the exception of me.
Hello.
There we go. Okay, Randy, it's yours. Take it away.
Can't hear Randy.
Good morning, Vietnam!
Good. What's up? Howdy, partner. Hiya, hola, ciao, salut, aloha, or hello and welcome to my sermon. No, today's talk will not be Cliff Notes from Emily Post's Guide to Proper Salutation Techniques. Instead, we will venture into that deep place inside us to explore the emotions we experience when all those things enter into or leave our lives. What is more, the type of emotion and the strength of the emotion span the entire spectrum when something begins or ends. From unbounded excitement and glee, such as getting a car from your folks for graduating high school. Hello, car and independence. To utter despair, losing a loved one in a freak accident, never getting the chance to say, I love you one more time, or goodbye. From a muted acceptance when getting hired at the local Burger King, to a minor noise having to sell your car because you cannot afford the insurance. There is no limit to kinds of emotions and intensity when something new enters or leaves your life. At first blush, the set of emotions may appear binary. Hello is happy, goodbye is sad. If it were that simple, we could get right to the offering. No, instead, I'll continue this torture by spending a little time exploring just what makes hellos and goodbyes such intriguing moments in our lives. But first, as the title references, what is everything? And does everything have a first and last time? I actually may need a couple hours for this. I would like to start with the stuff we own. When it comes to actual stuff, tangible items such as cars, houses, clothes, household goods, trinkets, and the like, it has been pondered, do we actually own it, or are we just temporary custodians of it all? We say hello to all those things as they enter into our lives and say goodbye too much of it throughout our lives as it all moves on to new owners or ceases to exist. We feel satisfaction when something enters our lives that we strive for, and feel a thrill when something we strongly desired enters our lives unexpectedly. We feel relief when something burdensome finally leaves our lives, or a sense of emptiness when a highly nostalgic item leaves us. But time will, usually sooner than later, time will neutralize those feelings. In other words, we simply move on. An interesting aspect of a new hello is the wide range of emotions attached to a given event. To illustrate, let's take adopting a puppy or young dog into a family. The glee and utter delight of the kids are off the chart when a puppy is brought home. The kids get to play and play and play with cute little canine, while the parents get to feed it, clean up after it, and take it to the vet. Owning a dog is a real hassle. I know firsthand.
Me too.
In 2001, a handsome young dog was stranded on our driveway. I was really put off by this insensitive act of dog dumping, let alone the idea of bringing an unwelcome dog into our household. I even put up found signs throughout the neighborhood with a serious intent to find his owner. But after 2 weeks, animal control proudly announced Wolfie was now ours. Since then, Mary and I have thoroughly enjoyed bringing rescue dogs into our home, as nutty as they are. Now, let's explore that of which we own but is not stuff, the non-tangibles. For example, receiving a diploma from a university is not something you could trade in or sell later on, nor does it ever go away. And this goes for anything else that represents an accomplishment, big or small. At the time it occurs, your life experiences a new beginning. Every significant experience brings something you own forever. So the longer you live, the more new beginnings pile up. What was once a near empty vessel called your early childhood becomes an ocean liner filled with hellos. A little side note here. There are those out there who are either very proud of their sizable aggregate of hellos or suffer from a bout of narcissism by creating this thing called the autobiography. I have so many hellos, I've just got to write a book about them all. Yes, sirree, Bob. But contrary to the assignment of binary emotions to hellos and goodbyes, happy and sad, far too many hellos in our lives are not pleasant, often leading to secondary emotional symptoms. The moment someone loses the use of a limb, for example, will change that person's life forever. Not a welcome hello for sure. The same is true with any lifelong debilitating health condition. This invites two levels of a new hello, learning to live with this condition both physically and emotionally. Finding ways to cope is just something you have to do. Dealing with this new situation emotionally, in a sense, defines the status quo of this new version of your life. As a result of this unwanted new hello, would you choose to be a fighter or a victim? Often you will see stories on the news or in movies about the fighters. Sticking with this structured approach to hellos and goodbyes, we now turn to the non-tangible goodbyes. This is where it gets a bit twisted. You see, when you lose something, whether it be physical or situational, this sort of goodbye to what was a significant part of your life is simultaneously a new hello, albeit a melancholy hello. And it is added onto that ocean liner of experiences. So this begs the question, do forever goodbyes really exist? This brings me to the age-old adage, nothing is permanent except death and taxes. But the notion of taxes does not really fit in with today's theme, so that leaves death. And what do you know? Death is the only real forever goodbye. For those of you who subscribe to the belief of no afterlife, this forever goodbye ends all the person's hellos. But wait, has that always been the case? The Irish didn't think so, and so too many other cultures saying that final goodbye. One of the more fascinating customs born of pagan roots is the manner in which the Irish say their final goodbye to their beloved. It is called an Irish wake. Back in the day, most folks died at home in their beds. The family members would dress the body in fancy clothes, put lit candles at the head and foot of the bed, leave a nearby window open while draping curtains over all the other windows and mirrors in the house, making it easier for the spirit to find its way out. All the clocks in the house would be stopped at the time of death. And then 3 days of celebration would take place in honor of the departed. The idea here stems from the notion that a person, particularly one of faith, is on an endless journey marked by 3 primary birthdays: the actual day of birth, the day of baptism, and of course, the day of moving on to the afterlife. So there you have it. Humans have an extraordinarily difficult time accepting the notion of a final goodbye. We just cannot let that happen. We try to convince ourselves they are off to a better place. They are no longer suffering without recognizing that they may not be enjoying either. But we don't really know for sure. No one has come back to verify all these claims of the afterlife. And somewhere deep inside each of us, something whispers a horrific truth. It is over. And that realization of this final forever brings forth one of the most intense emotions known to humans: grief. Our own Jan Callner mentions this in her piece, Goodbyes. You heard an excerpt from the second reading just moments ago, stating, "It's the final goodbyes that are truly hard. That's a goodbye with a capital G combined with grief with a capital G. A grief goodbye." Amen to that, Jan. Now, back to the premise that there is only one real capital G goodbye. All the rest have the potential of another new hello. The word goodbye itself means wishing you goodness while we are temporarily apart. And most goodbyes are not filled with grief with a capital G or sorrow, just the tiniest sense of a temporary loss. But to assuage that feeling further, we may end a phone conversation or an email with, "See you tomorrow." You have then made a contract in order to avoid that sense of loss. You have kept the other party connected to you. But contracts work both ways. If that person wants to see you then as much as you do, all is good. But if your "see you tomorrow" goodbye is met with the other party's thought bubble, in a pig's eye you will, then a feeling of despair will soon set in when the other party is no longer available as the days pass. Another type of goodbye, one that is melancholy in nature, is leaving a group setting that has been together for a time. The last day at work after 30 years on the job you loved. The cast party after a 6-month run on Broadway or at a community theater. The cast party after filming the last episode of Friends. The last meeting of a social church group. The predominant feeling is bittersweet. We loved and cherished the time we spent together, but we know it must come to an end. The Parting Glass is an Irish song that profoundly reflects the mood of this kind of goodbye. And it is often sung at those Irish wakes, again, saying goodbye as the spirit of the deceased celebrates his or her 3rd birthday.
All the
money I ever had, I spent it in good company, and all the harm I ever done, alas, it was to none but me. And all I've done for want of wit, to memory now I can't recall. So fill to me the parting glass. Good night and joy be with you all. Of all the friends I ever had, they're sorry for my going away, and all the sweethearts I ever had, they wished me one more day to stay. But since it falls unto our lot that I should rise and you should not, I gently rise and softly call, good night and joy be with you all. Good night and joy be with you all.
Thank you, Mary. Let's go back to hellos. This being Mother's Day, what better way to say into your very first hello to life itself, birth. You may recall, no, not your birth, but in one of my previous talks, the notion that the center of the universe is in each of our heads. Without your awareness, does anything really exist? So based on that line of philosophical thought, we start building our own universe by collecting hellos. Again, each experience creates a new beginning to your personal profile, none of them disappearing, unless of course dementia sets in, cruelly erasing them. Unlike other species, we humans can build our own universe far into the cosmos and deep into understanding. On the other hand, we are woefully inept at survival at birth. But the one person that typically provides the greatest assist in helping us get started is mom. Come to think of it, moms are primarily responsible for keeping our species alive, then providing nurturing care to help us grow into whole human beings. So, to all the mothers out there and everywhere, thank you. You not only gave us life literally, but saved it as well. Happy Mother's Day. We love you all. So, where does that leave us? Well, my intent here is to bring up an awareness of how each and every experience has a start, a hello factor, as I have been alluding to in this talk. Then applying that to an everyday occurrence, saying hello. You are all very experienced in the endless variations of greeting someone or a group of people. There's the, honey, I'm home, after a long day at the office. There is the good morning at the start of each of our services. You have a wide variety of greetings when passing someone in the aisle or on the trail. Anything from a jubilant, hi, Bob, hi, Betsy, to a glum, hi. Translate to, please leave me alone. Or the, hi, how are you? If you can't remember a person's name, who knows yours? There is the excitement of the first moment seeing a friend or loved one at an airport after spending months or years apart. And the amazingly emotional, unexpected reunion of a child with his or her parent who has been serving our country abroad for over a year or so, arranged by the government to be a surprise. When you see this at a televised event or a show, it gets you every time. It just may be the #1 emotional hello. But no matter what the greeting, I would like to plant this little seed. If you think of every new experience, from getting married to learning Pluto is not exactly a real planet, as having an impact on your life to whatever extent, apply that feeling to every time you greet someone. What if you were to treat saying hello with a genuine smile to a stranger passing you on a hiking trail with that same feeling of hello when the minister announces you and your partner as newlyweds to your wedding guests? Make every hello a life-changing event. Imagine that. Whenever someone passing by me would greet me with, "How are you?" or "How you doing?" I was once taught to answer with something other than the usual, "Okay," or "Fine." Instead, I should always answer with, "Terrific." "Hey, how are you?" "Terrific." On the surface, the other person just received an unexpected buzz of joy instead of a typical lifeless response. But deeper, this person just experienced a hello that motivates him or her to keep that Randy hello alive by adding it to their ship of hellos. But you may ask, what if your house just burned down, or you just euthanized your beloved dog the day before? Well, those are bummer hellos that were added to your ship, but your ship is alive and well and growing. So when I respond to "How are you?" with "Terrific," that is Captain Randy speaking, not "Woe is me, Randy." Every greeting is an act of inviting a new hello into your life, no matter how big or small. Make them all count. What you will be doing, in essence, is growing that rowboat, that is your life, to a grandiose ocean liner. Just resist writing that autobiography. Shriva?
Thank you, Randy.